Good morning, it's Pastor Jeff. We are here for our daily lectionary readings. It is Thursday, January 14th, 2021. Our psalm reading will be Psalms 139, 1 through 6, and then jumping over to verses 13 through 18. Our Old Testament reading is Judges chapter 2, verses 6 through 15. And our New Testament reading is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 1 through 11. Let us hear the words. Psalm 139. God, investigate my life. Get all the facts firsthand. I'm an open book to you. Even from a distance, you know what I'm thinking. You know when I leave and when I get back, I'm never out of your sight. You know everything I'm going to say before I start the first sentence. I look behind me and you're there. Then up ahead, and you're there too. Your reassuring presence, coming and going. This is too much, too wonderful. I can't take it all in. Oh yes, you shaped me from inside first, then out. You formed me in my mother's womb. I thank you, high God. You are breathtaking. Body and soul, I am marvelously made. I worship in adoration. What a creation. You know me inside and out. You know every bone in my body. You know exactly how I was made, bit by bit. How I was sculpted from nothing into something, like an open book. You watched me grow from conception to birth. All the stages of my life were spread out before you. The days of my life are prepared before I even lived one day. Your thoughts, how rare, how beautiful. God, I'll never comprehend them. I couldn't even begin to count them, any more than I could count the sand of the sea. Oh, let me rise in the morning and live always with you. And please, God, do away with the wickedness for good. And you murderers out of there, all the men and women who belittle you, God, infatuated with cheap God imitations. See how I hate those who hate you, God. See how I loathe all those godless arrogance. I hate it with pure, unadulterated hatred. Your enemies are my enemies. Our Old Testament reading today comes from the book of Judges, chapter 2, verses 6 through 15. After Joshua had dismissed them, the people of Israel went off to claim their allotted territories and take the possession of the land. The people worshiped God throughout the lifetime of Joshua and the time of the leaders who survived him, leaders who had been in on all of God's great work and what he had done for Israel. Then Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of God, died. He was 110 years old. They buried him in the allotted inheritance of Timoth-Heres in the hills of Ephraim north of Mount Gosh. Eventually, the entire generation died and was buried. Then another generation grew up that didn't know anything of God or the work he had done for Israel. The people of Israel did evil in God's sight. They served Baal gods. They deserted God. Their God of their parents who had led them out of Egypt, they took up with other gods, gods of the people around them. They actually worshiped them. And oh, how they angered God as they worshiped God Baal and goddess Astarte. God's anger was hot against Israel. He handed them over to plunderers who stripped them. He sold them cheap to enemies on all sides. They were helpless before their enemies. Every time they walked out the door, God was with them. But for evil, just as God had said, just as he sworn that he would do, they were in a bad way. Our New Testament reading today comes from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 1 through 11. The heading for today on the Bible that I'm reading from is Tearing Down Barriers. And now, a personal, but most urgent matter. I write in the gentle, but firm Spirit of Christ. I hear that I'm being painted as cringy and wishy-washy when I'm with you, but harsh and demanding when at safe distance writing letters. Please, don't force me to take a hard line when I'm present with you. Don't think that I'll hesitate a single minute to stand up to those who say I'm an unprincipled opportunist. Then they'll have words to eat. The world is unprincipled. It's a dog-eat-dog out there. The world doesn't fight fair, but we don't live or fight our battles that way. Never have and never will. The tools of our trade aren't for marketing or manipulation, but they are for demolishing that entire massively corrupt culture. We use our powerful God tools for smashing warped philosophies, tearing down barriers erected against the truth of God, fitting every loose thought and emotion and impulse into the structure of the life shaped by Christ. Our tools are ready at hand for clearing the ground of every obstruction and building lives of obedience into maturity. You stare and stare at the obvious, but you can't see the forest for the trees. If you're looking for a clear example of someone on Christ's side, why do you so quickly cut me out? Believe me, I am quite sure of my standing with Christ. You may think I overstate the authority that he gave me, but I'm not backing off. Every bit of my commitment is for the purpose of building you up. After all, not tearing you down. And what's this talk about me bullying you with my letters? His letters are brawny and potent, but in person he's weakling and mumbles when he talks. Such talk won't survive scrutiny. What we write when away, we do when present. We're the exact same people, absent or present, in letter or in person. And here ends our readings for the day.